So thank you very much for inviting us here today to Mill Hill? Mill Park. We didn't bring our, let's say, PowerPoint presentation. I see you have a big projector and screen here. Because if I'd known, we could have brought something interesting. But we have the most interesting thing here, besides the holy name. We also have Bhagavad Gita, which is not just interesting. There are many interesting things. The material world is interesting. But once you get too interested in the material world, you get caught, captured. So we want to get captured by Krishna. So Krishna consciousness should also be interesting. It shouldn't be boring or dry. Sometimes devotees, they say, oh, I'm so dry, so boring. No, Krishna consciousness is not, material world is boring, in one sense, and dry. Especially Australia is very dry, sometimes. And sometimes we find it very interesting, don't we? We like to try to enjoy this material world. Huh? Right?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Why? Because our nature is to enjoy. If you're not enjoying with Krishna, you have to enjoy something. Isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
What does Krishna say in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, 259? Who knows? Some of you are very new, I think, to ISKCON. Some of you have been around a little while. Who's been around more than 2 weeks? Around ISKCON, I mean. God knows how long we've been in the material world. Maybe He doesn't even bother keeping a record, it's so long. But we've been around the material world so long. But how long around ISKCON? Mostly new members here today. How many of you have been associated with ISKCON? I mean, you may have been associated with Krishna consciousness in various ways, but directly with ISKCON. How many have been associated with ISKCON for more than 1 year? The majority. Almost everybody. You're not so new. When you read letters of Srila Prabhupada, sometimes he would write a letter, you are one of my very senior disciples. And they've been in the movement for 18 months. After just 1 or 2 years, you become a GBC. Yes. Some devotees took sannyas at 19 or 20 years of age. Did you know that? Guru at 26. Initiating Guru at 26. Some of you are already 26. Maybe even more. I don't know. Oh, but I've only just come. I've only been here 1 or 2 years. Of course, it is very new. And of course, those early days of ISKCON when Srila Prabhupada preached in the West, in America, mostly young American boys and girls, after 3 months, you expected to go and open a new temple somewhere in another part of the world. Many times. Amazing, huh? I remember, I think it was Ray Bhattanandan, when he was a Bhakta or something or another. He told us when he was a Bhakta in Portland, I think it was. He just joined a couple of months. And Prabhupada had called the temple president there to go somewhere else and asked, is there anyone else who can take over? And they said, back to Rob is the only one here. He said, Okay, initiate him. He's now the new temple president of Portland. So who's the temple president of Mill Hill? No. Mill what? Mill Park. Who's the president here? Who's the temple president? Where is he? Are you the president? Or are you the resident? You have to become the president, not the resident. So don't get carried away thinking you are the president or the resident. We're neither. We're servants. We're here to serve Prabhupada. So we can't expect that we're going to be empowered like that immediately. But Prabhupada empowered the devotees because he had that spirit. Look at Srila Prabhupada. What was he? He was more than 26 when he went to America, wasn't he? How old was he?
69.
70. 70 years of age when he went to America. And did he have many followers with him?
No.
How many?
None.
None. No followers. Did he had a big bank balance? No?
40 rupees.
How much?
$1.
There's all different figures coming in. $1, $7, 40 rupees. What is this? In those days, yes, about $7. The rupee was only about 6 to 1 or something in those days. Now it's 40 odd, 50 I think. 50 to 1 now. Not worth very much now. But then the rupee was a little bit more valuable. But still, how much is $7? When you go alone to America, and where did he stay? In the Hilton Hotel? Hyatt Hotel? Where did he stay? Huh? Where? Where did he stay? Where did he go? Where did he go in America?
He was under the tree.
Under the tree.
Pardon?
Under the tree.
He stayed under a tree. That's interesting. You say not quite. He didn't actually stay under a tree. He preached under a tree, but he didn't stay under a tree. He did stay in different places. Many places he stayed. Which city did he go to?
Boston.
He went to Boston, but he didn't really stop much in Boston. He just basically transited. Where did he really land?
New York.
New York. Actually, he stayed in a little place called Butler for a few weeks before going to New York. Just stayed with Mr. and Mrs. Agarwal, Sally Agarwal and her family. And she was an American lady, her husband was from India, but he wasn't following any of the Hindu practices practically at all. He wasn't following regulated. They were eating meat and smoking and everything. Prabhupada stayed with them. He didn't mind. Well, he didn't exactly. He stayed in the YMCA. He would come there just to, take prasad and cook and give some preaching of some kind. But he had nowhere to stay for a long time, really. He just stayed in people's apartments or some little rooms here and there, different places around New York. When he first one morning he woke up and he saw all the walls were white. He looked out the window, he saw everything was white. He thought somebody had painted all the walls during the night. He didn't know what it was. It was snow. Have you seen snow?
No.
You've seen snow? Where? On the television. Where have you seen snow? Do you remember? Where he went up the mountains, man. What's it called? What's it called? Kosciuszko? Huh? Kosciuszko. Aussie down here. You went up the mountains? Did you see snow on the mountain? Where? In Australia? Really? And maybe you've been to the Himalayas. You may have seen it in the Himalayas. Where are you from? Which part of India are you from? Mr. Resident. What's your name? What's your good name, Prabhu?
Karunamurti Krishna Das.
Pardon?
Karunamurti Krishna.
Karunamurti Krishna Prabhu. Where are you from in India? From India?
Bangalore.
Bangalore. Do you see snow in Bangalore? No snow in Bangalore. Where else are you all from? You're from Karnataka. Where's everyone else from? Are they all from Karnataka?
Fiji.
Who's from Fiji? Do you have snow in Fiji?
No.
Not even on that mountain where Kalia's living? No snow? No snow in Fiji. Where else are you from? Some of you are from Telugu, Andhra Pradesh. Who's from Andhra Pradesh? Do you have snow in Andhra Pradesh? No. Hardly anyone. Unless you go to the Himalayas, I think. You may have seen snow, Dayananda Prabhu, you're up near the Himalayas, right?
Yes.
Not far away. So if you're up in Punjab or Himachal Pradesh or North UP or somewhere like that, you may have seen snow if you go up in the mountains there. But we don't generally see snow in Melbourne, do we?
No.
Do you get snow here?
Only one or two mountains, near one or two mountains.
Mountains? You have mountains in Melbourne?
All little mountains.
Pardon?
Little mountains.
Little ones. Baby mountains. Baby ones. Sometimes a little snow falls. But in New York they have many feet of snow. Prabhupada was living there on his own through all the winter, through all the terrible weather in one sense. And Prabhupada tolerated all that. What for? What did he go there for? He went there to make his living?
No.
Went there to make money? Went there to study? Went there to sightsee? Why did he go there? 7 years of age, on his own, no money, nowhere to stay. Would you do it? Would you do it? Why not? You came to Australia. Why did we come to Australia? Did you come here to serve Krishna? Maybe some of you, I don't think so.
No.
Maybe. Did you come here to serve Krishna? You were born here? Born here?
No.
Born in India also. Which part?
Tamil.
Tamil Nadu. Very nice. Your parents came here, did they?
Yeah.
So we didn't come here, generally speaking, to spread Krishna consciousness, did we? We didn't even come here to be. Isn't it a surprise you come to Melbourne? Probably you came here for either a job, yes? Maybe to work, maybe to study, maybe to get married, maybe to visit your family and friends, or your different reasons like that. Usually, right? Is that correct?
Yes.
We didn't come here thinking, oh, let me go to Australia to become Krishna conscious. I doubt it. The last thing on your mind, probably. It probably wasn't even on your mind. It wasn't even the last thing, it simply wasn't there. And you came here and just see. In India, maybe some of you were already practicing. I don't know.
No.
Maybe some of you, I don't know. I'm not saying, we're not going to write everybody off. There's some, but even if you were, probably it wasn't so much. So he came here and there suddenly, Krishna. Whoops. Obviously, well, it wasn't having any water in there. Krishna suddenly was there. He's here. He's everywhere. Can you imagine Prabhupada came to Melbourne also, right?
Yes.
Several times. Several times. I don't know if he came to Mill Park. But he came to Melbourne. You see the pictures? You've seen the pictures?
Yes.
He went to the temple there in Albert Park. Right? He walked along the ocean shore there, the bay. He would have gone many places. He went to the botanical gardens. The famous botanical, you may have been to the botanical gardens. Yes?
Yes.
Kids must have been, at least on some school outing or something.
Yes.
You have snow there? No.
No.
Prabhupada would go there, the devotees used to go there every day to pick flowers.
Ooh.
Wow.
Illegally. Remember that time in the newspaper? You heard about that, some of you have been around. There was a newspaper report in the Melbourne, whatever it's called. And it showed the gorgeous Hare Krishna Rath Yatra cart, chariot, all decorated with beautiful roses everywhere. Big article. Next article, somebody. They were concluding it was a Hare Krishna. What's the word they used? I can't remember. But somebody, wasn't pillaged, but somebody, all roses stolen from the Canterbury Gardens during the night. And the next article was the Rath Yatra cart covered in those beautiful roses. Eventually they got, they got kind of, what you'd say, stopped. Anyway, they used to do all sorts of things for Krishna. Didn't take any risk. Any risk. Go into nurseries, maybe some nurseries up here in this area, Mill Park. Mill Park? Mill Park, whatever it is. They were so brave, the devotees had no fear, fearless. They were afraid to go out with a dhoti on. Some devotees are afraid to walk in the street with a dhoti on. Change into, just to go down the shop sometimes we have to take our dhotis off. Rub the tea like that. Those who go anywhere, Prabhupada walking alone in the streets of New York. There's no one has ever seen anything like this before. Huh? He didn't accept pants and coat. Some of the other Swamis went to New York and said, Swami, you'll have to, adjust your appearance and your behavior. Prabhupada said, I didn't go to the West to adjust my appearance and behavior. I didn't go there to adjust. I went there to help them to adjust. Same, he came here to Australia. Many of the top surfers in Australia became devotees. The surfers. You know what surfers are?
Yes.
Any of you are surfers? No. Come on, be honest. Come on, boys. You a surfer? I'll bet you're a surfer, aren't you? You look like a surfer. No one's surfing? Rob, you've done a bit of surfing, I guess, haven't you? You've done a bit in your life. Ever did any sadhu?
No.
Not really.
I haven't had to get on the board.
Krishna protected you from something. And Prabhupada saw him in Hawaii, and also here he said, they're sufferers, not surfers. He said there'll be dolphins in the next lifetime. A big kick up there on the wave. I don't know how they do it. It's unbelievable. You see that? 20, 30 feet up on these waves, right? That wave come down, they miss it, they get crushed, huh? One mistake, huh? Very dangerous. Very dangerous. Anyway, people take these risks for sense enjoyment, right? I mean, it's a risk, everything you do. Driving your car is a risk. Everything, we take so many risks for sense enjoyment, right? Skydive, what's this thing? They go up in the air?
Skydiving.
Flying like this. There's no, not even a helicopter, not even a propeller, just, isn't it gliding?
Hang.
They jump off from heights. What's it called? Bungee or bungie?
Bungee jump.
Bungee jump?
He's scared high.
God, I wouldn't do that if you have to pay for that, do you? Do they pay you to do it or you have to pay? I wouldn't do that if they paid me. To speak of pay to do it, I can't believe it. Jump off the top of this like 100-story buildings and things like that. Crazy. Completely crazy. Parachuting down from 20,000 feet or whatever it is. Crazy. People do all sorts of things because they're missing Krishna. They're missing the point. They're missing the real point. They're looking for something. Something exciting. Something novel. Something interesting. Prabhupada, if you read that book of Karma, many of you have read, what is it called? The Great Adventure? Is it called The Great Adventure?
Great Transcendental Adventure.
The Great Transcendental Adventure. Have you read it? Who's read it? Oh, look what's happened. You're living here. Only two devotees. Navadvip Ishwari and Arvind, I think, are the only two who put their hands up. No one else, and Sadhu. Anyone else has read that book? Robert, you've read it?
Little bits, but not right through.
You've read a bit of that or all of it?
Bit of it. No.
Bit of it. Come on. You should find out. This is all about Srila Prabhupada and the Hare Krishna movement in Australia and New Zealand, I think, isn't it? It's all about you living here. Find out what it was, what happened, how this movement grew here in Australia. There were hardly any Indian people. There were very few Indian people involved then. It was all young Australians mainly. Very exciting. Krishna consciousness is an adventure. You like to go in, I don't know if you've got forest around here. Have you got a forest here? Nearby? A forest?
Not
Nearby?
No, not.
Really?
No forest.
Where are they? All burned down. What happened? Huh? No forest? Can't believe it. You're so far out of the city and don't even have a forest. We used to play in the woods and in the fields and so many things. When you were kids in India, maybe you did also. I don't know if there's any forest left in India, but at least there's fields. Used to play in the countryside and this and that. It was fun. Exciting. Much more exciting than playing games on your on the computer and things like that. Much more healthy, much more enjoyable, and much better for your whole being. Unfortunately, children don't get that opportunity much now. Very hard. Hardly. But it was the Krishna consciousness is supposed to be interesting. It's supposed to be very exciting. Prabhupada made it very, very adventurous. It's not just another social club or another religion. And where does the excitement lie? Where does it lie? Where is that excitement? What is exciting about Krishna consciousness? Tell me. Is there anything? Nothing?
The food.
The food?
That was one to begin with.
Okay, one to begin with. Okay, we begin with the food. Now go further than the food. That was my first day in the Hare Krishna temple, was food. Maybe you're already used to similar foodstuffs anyway, coming from Indian backgrounds. Different parts of India have different, no doubt, different menus, but basically speaking, it's not so far. But it's got that special additive, especially Radha Vallabha Mahaprasadam, isn't it? And if you ever get the opportunity to take Radha Vallabha Mahaprasadam, it's quite extraordinary, isn't it? It's very special. It's something special. I remember when the day after I was initiated, Sananda Kumar, one devotee, who was a Brahmin initiated devotee, said to me, after the first initiation, he said, Prabhu, we want you to cook the breakfast for Radha Londoneshwar this morning. I said, well, I never cooked before. He said, no problem, easy. He took me in the kitchen. Prabhu was giving a lecture upstairs. And he took me in the kitchen and said, this is all you have to do. You just cook a sabji, cook some puris, halala. A very simple offering, I must say. It wasn't very complicated. But, you know, when you've never cooked before, it's quite a... How do I... He said, just quickly, 5 minutes, he showed me. And said, okay, Haribol, when he was off. I was stuck down there trying to get this offering together. I love cooking. I used to cook at home, but I never cooked in the temple. Well, I didn't know how to cook puris properly, but somehow or another, it was a miracle. I mean, miraculously, everyone who cooked for Londoneshwar around Londonish, where somehow or another, no matter what it was that we cooked, they transformed it into something nectarian. It was always like that. Even someone who was lousy cook, somehow when the prasad came out, it was ecstatic. Because maybe we were so enthusiastic. It was a wonderful experience. First day I was in the temple, that was my first experience. I arrived at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, just as lunch was being served. I had no idea, I'd never seen a devotee in my life. I didn't know what they looked like, I didn't know what they did. I knew they were into Bhagavad Gita. I was looking for Bhagavad Gita. I was studying these things. I thought, I read their magazine and I thought, well, this sounds really where it's at, so let me get their Bhagavad Gita. I went to the temple and I arrived just at lunchtime. I thought maybe they don't eat anything, they're practicing yoga. Most they'll be is macrobiotic. Maybe if you know what that is. You know what macrobiotic is? Tell us what macrobiotic is, Robert.
Have
Have you ever been a macrobiotic?
It'd have to be something that's good for you, food-wise.
That's all you know about it? Who knows what macrobiotic is? Sadhu Prabhu, you know what macrobiotic is, don't you?
No.
You don't know?
I've heard of it, but no.
Heard of it? You don't know what you're missing. Who knows what macrobiotic is? Suchitra? No? You never were. God, many people were macrobiotic. Many hippies were macrobiotic. It was vegetarian, but it was basically just eating brown rice. Brown rice and some kind of like, organic lentils. It was all to do with something from Japan, there's yin, what's it called? Yin, yang, all this stuff. And it was really boring. Really boring. No, it's just totally boring stuff. But anyway, it's a whole fad. Whole fad.
It's still very big now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Probably is amongst certain health freaks and new age people and things like that, I imagine. Probably. So I thought maybe they're macrobiotic, they're the yogis, they just eat minimal. They took me down into the basement, a little room where they were serving the lunch, and I couldn't believe my eyes. I couldn't believe my eyes when they gave me this plate, which had so much rice on it I could hardly hold it. It was like a mountain. A little mountain. White, it wasn't snow, it was rice. And then they whacked, and actually it was Sananda Kumar again, he whacked on top at least 8 chapatis, Then he gave me a bowl, and the bowl was 1 liter big, full of dal. And that was first round. And they were walloping it back like as if there was nothing on their plate. And then they were all going back for seconds. I thought, my God, I have never seen or heard of anyone eat so much as this, except from the movies. Billy Bunter or something like that, famous. They were eating like elephants. And they were trying to make me eat like an elephant. And I managed to finish 1 plate. I could hardly move. I was used to vegetarian food. I was used to Indian food. It was no big deal. But this quantity I was not used to. And then all of a sudden, everyone got up and said, let's go. I didn't know what on earth that meant, let's go. And then someone said, we're going on Sankirtan. I said, what's that? And they said, bliss, ecstasy. That's all they said. That's the Swayam boy. He's in Australia, he lives in Canberra. He was in Sankirtan, taking the Sankirtan party out. He joined in London. And he was there. He already joined before me. So he said, let's go, come on, come on. So I didn't know what to do. I couldn't object. I was like stunned. Next minute we're out on Oxford Street. I had hair down to my waist. I was a hippie. And they're out on Oxford Street chanting. They're chanting and banging on drums and clashing on cymbals and jumping around. And I didn't know what was going on. I'd never seen this before. It wasn't my idea of yoga. And I was at the back so I could hear what everyone was saying. All the people on the street, "You're mad! You're crazy! You idiots! You morons! Aliens! Get a job, you lazy bums!" The Christians were there. "You're worshipping the devil!" All shouting like this. You know. Some people were spitting, some people, well, swearing, cursing. At the back I could hear it all. So I couldn't quite tune into everything. I thought, oh my God, this doesn't seem like ecstasy and bliss to me. Trying to escape, we got to Oxford Circus after about 1 hour. I thought, my chance, there's an underground station. Let me get out of here. I was just about to dive down the station, and Swineboard came up to me with a madunga drum. "Hey, just take this. Pop! Play this!" What? What do we do? Said, "Beat it." I'm trying to beat it, but you're not letting me. I just want to get out of here. Just beat it. So I'll just beat it. And then he said, "Beat this." Well, I'll never play with this. It's easy. Just go like this. Boom, 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 boom. I'm going boom, 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 boom. How long is this going to go on for? Another hour and a half. Boom, boom, boom. We got to Marble Arch after 2 in the morning, about 3:30 or 4 o'clock or something. I thought, how am I going to get out of here? Boom, boom, boom. And I couldn't even follow what they were singing. They were singing Hare Krishna. They were singing all sorts of things. And then Swineboard came back. He went off distributing books or something. I don't know what he was doing. He came back with a few of the other devotees. I had no choice. Everyone else in the party was either clanging on cartels, looking after a baby, singing, or they looked like they were mad. Some guy, a woman flying all over the place. I didn't know what was going on. And then Swineboard came up and said to me, he said, "What's going on here?" And I said, "What do you mean, what's going on here?" And he said, "This sounds more like a funeral procession." Boom, 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 and I said, "All right, you can have your drum back." And I quickly took it off and whoop on him, put it over his head. And I was off. I managed to escape. I got away. I escaped. Down Marble Arch Underground Station. And I escaped from the Hare Krishna. Not for long. I left my coat at the temple. I made a big mistake. I might not be here today if I had not left. I went back to the temple to get my coat. Luckily, it was still there. Usually that was not the case, I was told. They told me we were very lucky, it's still here. It was advertised in the local traveler's guide. What do they call that? What's that book? That traveler's guide called for young travelers, hitchhikers, and hikers. What's it called? Lonely World. Different things there. Lonely Planet. It wasn't called that then. It had another name, but the same kind of thing. And then for London, it had a good place to go for free coats and free shoes, the Hare Krishna Temple. Written right there in there. All the hippies would go there to 3 things: eat, get a free pair of shoes, and whatever else you could get your hands on.
Good idea.
You would agree, huh? I know why you are Hare Krishna. I'm going to report you to Aniruddha. All those missing shoes, all those missing mobiles, we know where they are. So I went back to the temple. 4:15 I managed to get back to the temple. It was just at the end of the offering of the Bhoga. The Pujari came out with the tray and said, "Oh, you're back already!" I tried to put on a nice face. I said, "Oh, yeah. Did you have a good time?" "Oh, yeah. I have to go home now. I've got to..." I've got to go. No, but before you go, just 1 minute. If you, please, just come with me. What's going on? I said, just come down. This is very special. Down and again into the basement. Oh my God. Down we went. This time it was the Maha fruit offering. This is a little bit more to my, you can say, a bit more used to this. And there was all these fruits, apples and oranges and pears. It was very simple. When I tasted some of those apples and oranges, I thought, oh my goodness. My lips started to, my mouth started to water, I started to tingle. I started tingling. I thought, oh dear, I think there's LSD inside. And I was quite familiar with LSD. And I was starting to get the preliminary symptoms. I won't tell you what that is, but anyway. And I thought, my goodness, the truth is coming out. Just like last night. Any of you were at Crossways last night? You were there? Anybody there? Who was there? Let me see the honest ones. Hands up! Have you sobered up? Are you sober now? Are you sober? You recovered? Did you also, Mother Savitri, did you also indulge? Yes, oh, caught you out. Ooh. Shall we embarrass everybody? What do you think? Did you go there, Robert?
No, with you.
Oh, you with me? Okay. We knew what was going to happen. In fact, we were probably behind it all. Sabotage. Somebody had made ginger beer. I think it must have been made out of real ginger and fruits or something. And it had fermented. It had turned into cider. And literally, several of the devotees were topsy. Can you believe it? In the Hare Krishna restaurant. But it was by mistake. So when these things happen accidentally, there is no reaction. No karma. It wasn't purposeful. I had some I'll tell you my interesting experience one time in Malaysia. We just finished the Sunday feast kirtan and everyone was in ecstasy. And that was, going forward a few years here. Everybody was very elated and very hot. If you've been to Malaysia, it's like Tamil Nadu. Very hot. So it's very old Tamil people. Have you been to Malaysia?
Yeah.
So you know, all the Indians are all Tamil. Are you from Malaysia?
No, from India, but then I was living in Singapore.
Mm-hmm. No, so you know, same thing. So many people in Malaysia are from Tamil Nadu. I'm a Telugu. So after the Sunday feast, we were all running outside to get some refreshments. We were hot. Just like last night, I guess, after the Harinam, the devotees were hot. They wanted something to drink, so they went to the nectar drink, the ginger beer. It was called ginger. It was a form of ginger beer, but it had gone, it had fermented and was more than just ginger. It was beer, practically ginger beer. So anyway, we went outside, and everybody, fortunately, one devotee, dear devotee, wonderful devotee, Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu, he had already got all the cups ready, full with the nectar drink. So you could immediately grab, you didn't have to queue up. Everybody just grabbed a cup of nectar drink and quickly guzzled it down. After a few seconds, bubbles were coming out of the mouth. Those were coughing and spluttering. Vrindavan, what's this? Vrindavan Chandra said, this is the pineapple juice. It looked like pineapple juice, that kind of like that browny yellow color, you know. A few bubbles on top, like pineapple juice often has, you know. It's the pineapple juice. This is not pineapple juice, Vrindavan, what is this? He was bewildered, he couldn't understand what was going on, and a few seconds later, the cook came out the kitchen. Haribol Prabhus, here's the pineapple juice! He looked at Vrindavan and said, what's going on? What are you serving? Vrindavan looked and said, I'm serving the pineapple juice. That's not the pineapple juice, that's the water I just washed the kitchen floor with! Careful when they say prasadam. I know it's Krishna consciousness meant to be exciting, but not that exciting. Anyway, back to London, where I first came in contact with prasadam. So after a while, I realized that wasn't the case. It didn't go any further than the feeling some ecstatic symptoms on tasting this fruit. I said then, okay, I got to go now. As I was about to walk out the door, one devotee came down the stairs. He looked like an angelic, tall, slim, fair, white, dressed in white, came down the stairs and said in a very sweet voice, "Oh, could you please help me for some time?" I said, "What do you want?" He said, "Oh, we're making an order of incense to deliver to shops in London. I have no one to help me because everyone was out on Sankirtan." So I said, "All right then." So I went with him all the way up the stairs, 4 or 5 flights up the stairs. They were making incense at the top of the building. Completely illegal. The residential building. And they're making incense on the top floor. So I sat there, packing incense into packets. Spiritual sky. 5, 10, 15, 20. Put in the, seal the packet. 5, 10, 15, 20. It went on for an hour and a half. Sealing packet. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of packets. It was, somehow or another, it was quite fun. It doesn't sound like it, but I was actually having a bit of fun. It was nice. I was enjoying it. And then about an hour and a half later, we'd finished. And then we went down the stairs. This time it was about 6 o'clock or something. And all of a sudden, as I was about to go out the door opened and boom! In came the Sankirtan party. There you are! We didn't know where you went to! I didn't know what was next. I thought they were going to say, "Let's go for more bliss and ecstasy." No. They said, "Come, come!" Whoo! Down the stairs, down to the basement again. And it was prasadam again. Rice dal and chapatis again. Same thing. And again, a full fill-up. Full tank, please. Full tank. Complete, unbelievable. We all went. Down it went. Then I thought, I've got to go. And they said, "Before you go, have you seen the temple?" I said, "Temple? What temple?" They said, "Come and see the temple." So up the stairs we went, and they said, "Come into the temple." Never knew they had a temple. Into the temple we went. And I didn't know what was going on. I was sat in there, the curtains were drawn. It was just before Aarti, about 6:30. So the curtains were drawn, and I was just sat in this room. It looked like it describes an upturned boat. It had these old red pine wood, like wood like this, and it was like this, and it was a long, thin room, not that long, about as long, about like this. If you put a wall across there, it was about the size of this room here. Cut off that part. And that was the temple room. There's a blue carpet on the floor. Prabhupada's Vyasasam, which was as wide as the room almost, was at the back. And the curtains were closed. I was just sat there, and every now and again somebody would come in and practice their diving. I thought that's what they did. They'd come literally dandabut, boom, boom. Some of them were like so enthusiastic, they like swoo, like skidded across the carpet. Shoom, like diving in. Really enthusiastic. And then after 7 o'clock, the curtains open. Boom, boom. Somebody blowing their trumpet. And then after that, this was the pujaris. I don't know what was going on, but stood at the back, watching everything going on. The same thing that there was, boom, ba-dum, ba-dum, jumping up and down. What was going on? The curtains were open. There was someone up there waving things at this. Well, to me it was statues. I didn't know what it all was. Waving these things in the air. Then someone comes up with a flame, goes all around. I thought they were coming up to set fire. Catching on fire or something. And then after a few minutes later they came in with the water to put the fire out. And they stuff a flower up your nose, you know. They start waving things at you. It's completely, when you first see it, it's completely weird. It's really weird. If you're not used to it, if you're not from India, it's weird. Isn't it? If you're from the West, it's really weird.
First time I met Hare Krishnas, I thought that was pretty weird.
Weird. They never explain anything. That's the amazing thing. Even after 40 years, still nobody knows why we do this and that. Half the time. It's weird. So this is going on, and then I thought, I gotta go. Go. And then someone said, oh no, stay a little longer. And what's happening now? Bhagavad Gita. I thought that rang a bell. I thought, well, I came to get one. They never had a Bhagavad Gita, so I never got the Bhagavad Gita. And they never had any for sale. So I didn't get one. But they said, Bhagavad Gita class, just stay for the class. So I stayed for the class. That was interesting. I said, I got to go. So just stay a little longer. What's happening now? Song class. Stay for a song class. And I said, I got to go. I said, just stay a little longer. What's happening? Arti. Another arti, short one, do party. And I said, look, please, I really got to go. My last train is at 10 o'clock. It's only 9:15. And I said, I got to go all the way over London to the train station. And they said, just one more thing. Before you go, promise this is the last thing. I mean, this is like, nearly 8.5 hours later. I went to get the Bhagavad Gita, nothing else. And then they said, just one more thing. I said, what's that? Come downstairs. Oh no. This is special. What is this? Don't tell me it's ecstasy and bliss again. We went downstairs. It's reserved for the guest, and I was the only one. The Mahaprasad of Radha Londoneshwar. It wasn't rice, dal and chapatis. Not that there's anything wrong in rice, dal and chapatis. They're wonderful and ecstatic. But this was a little different. What was this? Puris. Halava. Samosa. Laddu. Tomato chutney. Mahabrinjal. You know what that is? Fried eggplant and curd and nectarian things. That offering was the offering. That was the special offering of the day. Reserved for the guests first. And the sannyasis, of course. But for the guests first. Just putting in a hint there. Did you catch that? First the sannyasis.
Yes, buddy, we got that.
So it was. The Buddha used to take sannyas, and one of their main reasons was to get the Mahaprasada. Honestly, that was one of the main reasons. It wasn't enough to get sannyas, but that was one of the main reasons. And I was bowled over. I couldn't believe it. Having eaten in Chinese and Indian restaurants so many times here and there and done this and that. But this was something out of this world. Out of this world. When I tasted that halava, and I must say that okay, they make it in Australia, and maybe I don't know how Gopals and Crossways are now. I haven't tested it. I'm a connoisseur of halava. But the halava, most of the time in ISKCON now, would not even be credited with the word halava. It doesn't taste quite the same. But maybe the ingredients are not quite what they used to be. But it was unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's like your mouth exploded. Incredible. And the puris, soft, round, no oil or ghee on them. Hot, soft, like footballs. Beautiful. Nothing, completely cooked. Mahabrinjal, succulent. The samosas, hot. Beautiful samosas, and the laddu which melts in the mouth. I was defeated. I tried all day to not surrender, but this was the final straw. I was defeated. That was it. Defeat, especially by the halava. The deadly weapon. The deadliest of deadly weapons. Hot halava. It has killed many a conditioned soul. It has destroyed their lives. We were told if everybody takes this halava for breakfast, there will be world peace immediately. I don't know if that would ever happen or actually be true. That was the propaganda. Halava. Hell of a halava. And so I didn't join the temple. A stubborn mule that I am. I waited many months. But daily I got the recipe for halava. And every morning before cycling to work, I would cook hot halava. Date halava. Oh, yes. Somebody there getting excited. Hot, steaming with rich butter. You cook it with butter, the taste is much deeper and much more thick. Really. And hot, steaming, hot, gold-topped milk. Which you may not be able to get anymore these days. But then it was all straight from the farm. And amazing. Anyway, history. How did we get there? I do not know. But this was the excitement which Prabhupada created in ISKCON. It was a challenge. When they shaved my hair, after when I finally joined, I already had it cut fairly short, but when the final shave up came, the devotee shaving up asked me where I was from. I told him. He said, maybe after a few weeks you can go back and open a temple there. What he told me. That was the mood. Exciting. We were young men and women. It was a natural, it was challenge. We were a little bit in the mood anyway, because in those days the mood of revolution was the thing, within. Now it's not. Now it's more conforming. How to find a place within the society. Not how to change it. Most people don't think like that anymore. You have a farm, nobody goes there except for you go for a retreat. You go there and pat the cows on the head. But how many of you are willing to go there and stay and roll up your sleeves and work on the land and live in the simple accommodation? How many? None. Same all over the world. Some of you are doing great service, all of you, in various ways, bringing others to Krishna's lotus feet, getting others to chant. Maybe you're distributing books. I don't know. You can distribute Prabhupada's books, that's a great service. Maybe you're going on the bus, Harinam parties. These are all very wonderful. This is wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. And that's great. It's within your means. You're working people. You can't do like that. But this spirit should be there. This spirit of giving Krishna consciousness to others. What does Krishna say in the Bhagavad Gita in the 18th chapter about preaching? What does he say? Yes, one who teaches or gives this knowledge. Now everybody in reality is a devotee. The pure devotee sees everyone as a devotee. We may not. We have to discriminate. But from the pure devotee, we're acting on the behalf of the pure devotee. He sees every living entity as a devotee. We're acting on his behalf. So to give this knowledge to all the conditioned souls is the greatest service. No one is more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear, Krishna says. The one who preaches this message of Bhagavad Gita. Live it. You can't preach it very much. You can pass it on in the form of a book, but the more we apply it in our lives, the more we're able to give it to others. Isn't it? Logical. This is the greatest service. To try to give Krishna consciousness to others. Whatever else is going on, the ultimate result of that is you get Krishna's blessings. Maybe other things are going on which are not so Krishna conscious in our lives, but we're trying to preach. I remember last year, devotee, I had a friend relation, very close relationship as a friend. He had a serious motorbike accident in England, long time before he became Krishna conscious or came to the movement. And he had a lot of injuries, including brain damage. So he wasn't quite all there. But he had this amazing attraction towards devotional service. A really nice person who always loved to serve the devotees, couldn't follow strictly the regulated principles, everybody knew he would go sometimes, not to Crossways, he would go somewhere else to get his cider or his liquor. And he would drink occasionally. And he would smoke occasionally. But whenever the chance came, when he wasn't in that position, he would love to distribute prasadam. And he would go out on Food for Life, he would work, do anything. He had such a lovely attitude. He couldn't always chant 16 rounds, he would chant sometimes. He liked the Harinam Sankirtan. He loved going to India whenever he could afford it. And then he would do Food for Life in India, wherever he could. He wasn't a philosopher. He couldn't lead kirtan. He wasn't able to manage anything, even his own life practically. But he last year, in March last year, he was in Mayapur. He was staying in the Goshaw with some friend because he couldn't afford to stay anywhere else anyway. He was staying there, middle of the night. He said to his devotee he was staying with, he said, I think I've got some pain in my chest. And within seconds, he just died. Right there in the Goshaw in Mayapur. What a Krishna rewarding. You may say, oh, that's terrible. But it's not. It's a great, means that Krishna is pleased. Did you leave your body in the holy Dham right there in Mayapur, in the Goshala? That means Krishna is very pleased with you. Even though you may not be able to do what someone else has done, you may not even be able to follow strictly. That's good if you can, but that's not all there is. He wasn't even initiated. Prabhupada said that several times. Several of those that left their body, they weren't even initiated. Prabhupada said they'd gone back to Godhead because they were trying to follow me. They're trying to dedicate their lives. The more we dedicate our lives to the pure devotee, even if we're weak, even if we do have our problems, do your best. Try your very, very best. And Krishna will do the rest. There's no doubt. No loss on this path, but be sincere. Don't be a, show boy, show off. Be honest. Don't be duplicitous. Simplicity, sometimes it's the first quality of a devotee. If somebody said they're having no problems, they're really having a problem. Everybody has problems in that sense. Some, what we call anartha, some material attachments, some material desires, some material activity may be going on. But keep trying to plug into Krishna consciousness. Try to connect with Krishna. Prabhupada has established that when they say he's built a house for the whole world to live in, that does not mean that everyone's going to be a Brahmin in living in a temple. Only a minute proportion of society. Minute. Vedic culture will be about, 1 to 10. What's that? 10. 10 times 10. About 1 in 1,000 will be a Brahmana. Less, because you've got the Antyajas also. It's approximately 10 to 1. Each approximately. So that'll be about 1 to 1,000. So most people are not Brahmins. Amongst those, only a few are sannyasis. It's not that most people are not like that. Most people are just ordinary people. They can't necessarily even follow regulated principles, but they can still chant Hare Krishna. They can still work for Krishna. They can still sympathize or support Krishna consciousness. So the movement has to become a little bit more embracing. Those who can follow and who can follow the principles of freedom, they're great. And most of you probably can because you're born in lucky and born in Indian families, born in an Indian background. Very fortunate. And it's your duty. It's according to scriptures, Bharata Bhumite Huila Manushya Janmajara. Janma Satiki Kara Kara Para Upakara. It's your duty to spread Krishna consciousness to others. It's not just something you do if you feel like it. It's your duty according to scripture. Everyone born in Bharatvarsha of Indian descent is to make it their life's duty to preach or spread this message to others for their benefit. Para Upakara, you have to become. It's your duty. Prabhupada was one person alone at the age of 70 with no material assets at all, who changed the world literally. The world's never been the same again since. It's gone in different directions in other ways too. But from this point of view, it's still going on. Prabhupada's injection, his Preaching is still going on, stronger and stronger all over the world in many ways. We can always try to play our part that it be stronger. But it's going on. Books are going out. Harinam's going on. Prasadam's going out. Temples are being opened. Farms, unfortunately, are not so much being developed in some places. It's a very important part of Prabhupada's mission. Farm, you have your farm here, New Nandagram. Maybe one day it'll be flourishing. I don't know. I haven't got the potency to do anything or even know. I hope maybe it will. There's so many things. You have so many of you here in Melbourne now. Thousands of devotees all over Melbourne. Just to see this little Bhakti Rickshaw here in Mill Park, so far away. And I never even knew there were any Indians living up here. Or what to speak, devotees. They're all over the place. Where is it? Dandenong? Dandelion? Dandenong? Programs out there that way, and down in Hoppers Crossing, right? The Hoppers Crossing. Down in, what's the other place down there?
Werribee.
Huh?
Werribee.
Werribee? Werribee. And what's the place you live?
Point Cook.
Point Cook. Point Cook. Everywhere. Programs going on. It's great. But we have to take this to others, not just the Indian population. Please. Everybody. Black, white, green, blue, whatever color you are. You don't see many blue people walking around in Melbourne, but there might be some. Take it to all of them. Don't be afraid. If Prabhupada thought that we would not be here today, would we? He was the same color as you. Same background, well, not exactly, but I mean from India. Of course, he was instructed to do this. But Lord Chaitanya has instructed you also to do this. Prabhupada said that actually most of his god brothers were given the same instruction. The only difference is he did it and they didn't, that's all. And he cited the example of Christopher Columbus. When Christopher Columbus came back from what we call now America, then people, he was getting praise and so. People were saying, oh, well, anyone could have done that. What have you done? Anyone could have done what you've done. You haven't done anything really. You just have to sailed out there and bumped into the place. Anyone could have done it. And he said, all right then, if anyone could have done it, okay, let's see how many of you can stand an egg on its end. Can you bring an egg, please? Can you bring one egg from the kitchen? You got an egg? Eggplant? Eggplant, maybe. Do they, eggplants who grow eggs? We must have some eggs growing from the eggplant. Have you got any chickens in the garden? That's not true from India. Every Indian has to have a chicken nowadays. Amazing, all the Tamils, they've all got chickens, you know. Can you bring in, has anyone got an egg? Nobody? Why no eggs? Anyway, he gave the example. Okay, everyone, now, oh, and then? Let's see if anyone can stand this egg on its end. I don't know if you ever tried this. You take an egg, well, not as then, you don't need to do it, don't worry. You take an egg and try to stand it on its end. Can you do it? It just doesn't happen. No, it's near on impossible. Everyone was trying, all these other explorers and scientists, whatever, they were all trying to stand the egg on the end, and Christopher Columbus is watching. And after they said, this is ridiculous. What do you mean? What has this got to do with our question? If this is what's important, can you do that? Why don't you do it? They asked Christopher, will you do it? He said, all right then. He took a spoon, tap on the bottom of the egg, made it flat, and put the egg on the ground. Oh my God, everyone said, anyone could have done that. Anyone could have done that. And he said, yes, anyone could have done it, but you didn't do it. I did it. And so many Prabhupada's godbrothers said this, that, the other, or Swamiji was just lucky. Swamiji was because he was a good businessman. Swamiji, you know, this, that, the other. You know. But they didn't do it. Only Prabhupada did it. Anyone could have done it, maybe. But Prabhupada did it. And any one of us can also, maybe not in the same way, but we can play our parts. We can try to be a little instrument to assist Srila Prabhupada in spreading Bhagavad Gita all over the world. And spreading the holy names wherever we can. Let's see what we can do. Okay, we'll begin. That was the introduction. Now we'll begin the Bhagavad Gita class. 5 minutes left. We're going to read all the 700 verses in 5 minutes. Are you ready? Any questions? There's all bits of paper here. 7th verse. Narayan. Who is Bhagavan? Hare Krishna. Just try to live the Bhagavad Gita as much as you can. I'll just ask one question or two. We've already asked this question, maybe, I don't know. Who knows Bhagavad Gita test, okay? You teach Bhagavad Gita here? Okay, here's the test. Who knows what is called the Paribhasya Sutra of the Bhagavad Gita? That means like the verse which is like, captures the essential essence of the whole text. Which verse? I just had to open the book right on that verse, didn't I? Okay, question 2. Which verse is quoted the most in the whole Bhagavad Gita in Prabhupada's books? Or his lectures, or his conversations, or his letters? Which verse is quoted the most? Oh, well, you go step back once. Manmana bhava madbhakto. Nothing there. Nice to learn this verse. This is the Paribhasya Sutra verse. It's not the most quoted by Prabhupada, but it's the Paribhasya Sutra. It is the essential verse because it captures the purpose of the whole Gita. We could say the purpose of the Gita is 18... What's that other verse? Next door neighbor to Manmana Bhava Madbhakto. What's the next door neighbor? Dentist has come? Anyone want free dental treatment today? 3:30 and 4:30. Dentist is on the back there. Next door neighbor, Sarva Dharman Prityagya Aham Tvam Sarva Papibhyo. Sometimes you'll see this Prabhupada even said this. He's the one time he said, what is the what's the exact word he said? In the Bhagavad, he asked this question in London one time. He said, oh, in the whole Bhagavad Gita, what's the goal of the Bhagavad Gita? What's the purpose of Bhagavad Gita? No one said anything. Then suddenly, Prithu Prabhu put his hand up. Sarvadharma Prithyagya. Yes, Prabhu said, very good. He said, you're all not reading, are you? Said to the devotees, you're distributing my books. All book distributors. Said, but you're not reading my books. You have to read. So yes, surrender unto me. So that's the goal in one sense. But what does surrender unto me mean? What does it mean? It's not just a sentiment, is it? Sometimes people say surrender to Jesus. As if it's just like a, sign the line. Put your name here. Sign up. I surrender to Jesus. But what does it really mean?
To stop being the controller.
Pardon?
To stop being the controller.
Well, that's on our side, but what does it mean in the practical sense of the term? It means manmana bhava madbhakto. It means to engage your mind always in thinking of Krishna. Offering your homage always to Krishna, serving Krishna, engaging in the service, giving your life to Krishna's service. Offering yourself to Krishna. That's Sarvadharma Prityagya. That's surrendering to Krishna. Putting yourself under Krishna's shelter. Taking up your point. No longer thinking, I am the controller. I can manipulate Krishna consciousness movement to suit me. No. We give that up and surrender to Krishna. Put ourselves in his hand. But neither of those two verses are the most quoted verses. Another question. Who knows? Both those are very key verses. 40 key verses. Another one, most quoted verse. One time in London, Prabhupada was talking, I think it was to Sabag Maharaj. Yeah, again, in different places, Prabhupada would emphasize different points of Bhagavad Gita or different verses. And he was saying to him, which is in the Bhagavad Gita, you know, what's the point of the Bhagavad Gita? What's the point? It's not point cook. What's the point of Bhagavad Gita? Didn't Cook discover Australia? Was it Cook who came to Australia? Captain Cook. Did he land where you live, Point Cook? So, who is that? What is that verse? 4th chapter, Bhagavad Gita. What is the 4th chapter called? Well done. Text number 8. Text number 8? I think it's 8. Not quite. You may be right. I think I may be wrong. I just double check. You don't always remember the number of the verse, but I think it's 8.
Tatvidi Pranipatena.
You're getting very close. You're certainly very close. You may be right. Yeah, I'm wrong. I retract my words. You were right. Number 9. I've learned something today. It's not number 8. Number 9.
Janma karma chame.
Thank you. Janma karma chame divyam evam yogi tattva. Pradeham punajama naiti mameti surjana. What does that mean?
One who knows my transcendental.
Yes, my transcendental nature, my appearance and activities in this world does not take birth again. It attains to my
Transcendental.
abode. So, knowledge of Krishna, knowing Krishna's actual position. Bhagavad Gita is aimed at that. What other verses are important? There are many, every verse is important. What are the key verses, do you know?
Tatvidi pranipatena.
Yes, 4th chapter also, text number what? 34. Tadvidi pranipatena
Pariprashnena sevaya.
upadekshanti te jnanam.
Jnanena sattva.
So why is that so important?
Surrender and spiritual master. Do his service.
To begin our journey of bhakti.
Yes. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, render service. Because the self-realized soul has seen the truth, he can impart that knowledge unto you. Now why is, and that's tucked in there in the 4th chapter. So that is obviously very significant, but it's especially significant because that chapter, Divya-gyan, transcendental knowledge, is geared towards becoming eligible to receive transcendental, or to understand transcendental knowledge. Evam pampara praptam imam rajasho vidu is there. The verses you just quoted, yada yadahi dharmasya klani bhavati bharata paritranaya sadhanam, all these verses, yeyatam non papatite, all these verses are all there, chatavarna maya shishtam guna karma, all these various verses are there as different steps or methods or approaches to this understanding of who Krishna is, which is the essence of spiritual life, you could say. And in terms of the knowledge, to know that Krishna is to understand his transcendent nature is one thing, but the Manmana Bhavavakto is like the activity, the living force of one who knows that. So that verse, Tadvidi Pranipatena, is the key verse there, because that is the only way that our activities or our endeavors, whatever they may be, whether it's, following religious principles, whether it's following the Vedic Varna Ashram society, whether it's performing austerities, giving charity, welfare, performing sacrifices, engaging in yoga, everything, even chanting Hare Krishna, everything pivots around this point, because otherwise it will not bear fruit. It may bear fruit up to a certain point, material fruit, pious reactions, maybe even up to liberation. Unlikely, but maybe. But to come to the point of love of God, to understand the truth in full, that requires this Tadvidi Pranipatena. We have to get that connection through the Parampara, disciplic succession with Krishna. Only then does Krishna's mercy descend in its full extent in terms of the, the revelation of our actual relationship with Krishna. Otherwise it remains somewhat theoretical. Even after that verse in the 4th chapter, Krishna said, one who dedicates himself to this knowledge attains this knowledge in due course of time. In other words, one who accepts the instruction or the guidance coming down through the disciplic succession attains the purpose behind it all. The fourth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that's important verses. What other? The ninth chapter, many important verses, huh? Seventh chapter, ninth chapter. Ninth chapter is packed with verses, isn't it? Can anyone think of any verses from the ninth chapter? Very good. What is that? Raja Vidya Raja Guyam
Pavitram Vidham.
Pratyakshabhagamam Damyam. Good. What does that mean? Raja Vidya means? It's the king of all knowledge. Raja Guyam? Oh, secret. Why is it a secret? Anyone can read Bhagavad Gita? If you want. Why is it secret? What are you telling me? Secret. What is this secret? There it is. It's here. What's the secret?
It's an open secret.
Open? Open secret. But still, many people read it. Even probably they still don't understand.
Mayatyakshena prakriti. Everything is acting under Krishna's control.
That's true. That's another verse. The question was, it's another very important verse. Maya dikshena prakriti sute sacharacharam. Vitunane kuntaya. But these are very important verses. But why is it a secret?
Devotee can tell about Krishna.
Good. Because it's not something that can be explained. What does Krishna say in the 18th chapter? This Bhagavad Gita cannot be explained to those who are neophytes. Neophyte means those who are near a fight. Always ready to defend themselves. It's a neophyte. Defending. What's the question? Cannot be explained to who? You're right, but make it, but that's not what Krishna says exactly. Cannot be explained to? Non-devotees? Interesting, we just heard we should spread this message to everybody. Seems like a contradiction. It's not really, but we'll see that. But what is that? Cannot be explained to the envious? Cannot be explained to those who are not austere? Cannot be explained to those who are not engaged in devotional service, who are non-devotees. Cannot be explained. They cannot digest it. They misuse it. They don't understand it properly. It's revelation, pratyaksha. It's something which is revealed. It's not something you just learn. It's learned by practical application under the direction of a living person or living example, someone who's practicing or following Bhagavad Gita. It's not just by anyone can pick it up. They may get something, but they won't get the full thing. To realize Bhagavad Gita will not be revealed to them. Revelation is given by Krishna when one actually hears from the right source, by following the right process. Pratyaksha bhagamam dharma. It is revealed, it's seen directly. And that direct vision is not with the blunt senses. Material senses, not exactly. It's internal. Takshi Krishna Namadina Bhavad Gwayamindriya. Sevan Mupihi Jivado. Shvayameva Spratyata. With our blunt senses we cannot see these things. That is revealed to us when the Lord is pleased by our sincere service. This is the secret, is something which is revealed only by the pure devotees. By Krishna actually, but by pleasing the pure devotees. So that's an important verse. There are many verses in the 9th chapter, because the same verse is there. Man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. It's slightly different. Does it go? No. I've forgotten that one. It's almost the same as the one in the 18th, but not quite. And also there is Patram Pushpam Palotoyam. Everyone knows that one. Famous verse. Offer me with love and devotion, fruit, leaf, flower, and water, I will accept. Yatkaroshi dashnasi, yajjohosi dadasi. Samoham sarvabhuteshu, namedveshosti natriya. All these verses are there. So many wonderful verses are there. In the 9th chapter, 7th chapter, I don't know. Muddle up sometimes between the chapters. Ananyas chintyanto mam ye jana paryupasate. So many wonderful, wonderful, wonderful verses. Then they got the 10th chapter, 4 key verses there. Who knows those? Essential verses. They're sometimes called the 4 seed verses of the Gita. Who knows those? 10th chapter, text 8. Yes, mother?
10.9.
Pardon?
10.9.
Okay.
Machita Matkata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam Hadayantu Cha Mam Nityam Kushanti Cha Vanam.
Excellent. Do you know what it means?
The thoughts of my devotees will in me and they get enlightenment by preaching about me.
Thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me, their lives are surrendered unto me. They derive great bliss and satisfaction, always enlivening one another and conversing about me. Very beautiful verse. The one before it? Aham sarvasya prabhavo tatak sarvam pravartate iti mat bhavajanti mam muda bhavasamam. What is that? Everything?
Spiritual.
Should know that all material, everything,
Everything is imitated.
animate, inanimate, all material, spiritual, everything emanates from me, from Krishna. Everything comes from Krishna. Tejam satata yuktan vajatam priti purvakam dami buddhi yogam tam yenamam prayanti. What does that verse mean? To those who are constantly devoted and worshiping with love, I give. This is the key, this is the secret. This is the secret of Bhagavad Gita. To those who are constantly devoted to me, worshipping me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. The secret verse. For the most quoted verse of all, to cut a long story short, is in the 15th chapter. I'm only saying this because Prabhupada quoted it the most. It's not necessarily the most important verse or anything, it's just the most quoted. Sarvastya chaham Priti sanivishto Mataksmiti jnanam bhavacha Vedaischa sarveraham eva vedyo Vedanta krit veda vicham. What does that mean? From me comes. Anyone remember? Have you forgotten? Anyone remember, or have you forgotten? Don't you know this knowledge? I've already told you. From me comes knowledge, remembrance, and. So even when you forget, you remember Krishna. The forgetfulness comes from Him. Everything comes from Krishna. Knowledge, remembrance, forgetfulness. By all the Vedas am I to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of the Vedas and the knower of the Vedas. Here's another verse which captures 2 aspects, you can say, of knowledge. That's why it's quoted the most. Prabhupada quotes sometimes the first part, sometimes the second part, sometimes both parts. Many. But please read your Bhagavad Gita, try to digest it, give it to others. Now the secret here is it can't be explained, but Prabhupada, the pure devotees are so wonderful, so merciful. In their purports, they make it accessible even to people who are, of course we find that people take the Bhagavad Gita, they don't read it. They stick it in their bookshelves. 15 years later, they're sat there depressed, miserable, fed up. They look up in their bookshelf and they say, what's that? I remember that Hari Krishna gave me that book on Swanson Street 15 years ago. He looked pretty happy. I wonder what it's all about. They pick it up and boom! Suddenly it makes sense. 15 years earlier it made no sense. They weren't ready. They weren't ready. We've got to plant the seeds. Plant the seeds. Even if they don't grow immediately, they will grow in time. So it's not that we don't preach, because nobody is ready practically. We've got to prepare ourselves and others. Stoke them up with prasadam. Stoke them up. Isn't this somewhere? No, where's that? Stoker's Siding. Oh, that's up near New Govardhan. Stoker's Siding, village next to New Govardhan. Stoker's Siding. We gotta stoke them up with Krishna, with Prasadam. Fill them up. Give them the holy name. If they don't know what it is, get them to chant and dance. All these are great. Now do it. They love Prasadam. In Australia, everybody loves Prasadam, don't they? Don't they?
Yeah.
Practically, Prasadam is the most wonderful secret weapon of purifying people, preparing them. Hare Krishna. So now, is the Prasadam prepared?
Yes.
All right. We're time for Prasadam. It's Prasadam time. Oh my God. Not another one. Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. I've got some Prasadam for the kids in a minute, but first we're going to conclude with some Sankirtan with the cartels. I've got them. I found them. If you're hungry, please take Prasadam. If you're angry, please try to control it. I know I'm a neophyte, so be careful. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Make sure everyone gets Prasadam if anyone has to go. Don't go without Prasadam. Take Prasadam. Make sure you all get Prasadam.
Krishna Hare Hare,
Come on, fill it up.
Hare
Full
Rama
tank.
Hare Rama,
Can't go out there without a full tank.
Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Okay, here we go. We're going to start distributing. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Beating that drum. Keep beating the drum. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Kids first, come on kids.
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna. Any more kids? Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Anyone can get? Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Go Premali! I also have stickers for the kids. If anyone wants stickers. I've only got a few left. I haven't got much variety left now. They're almost all gone. Anybody want a sticker? Come and get one.
Sticker.
You can only, there's only a few varieties left on the page. You can only take one each. First come, first served. If you haven't got one, if you only got one, please on the page. Choose a sticker.
It's sticker.
I'll put this one. Thank you.
Krishna Balaram. Right. We got a few choices, haven't I? Jagannath. They're all stickers. You had one already. You can't have this one. One already. Hey, you got loads. Hey, what do you want? Jagannath. This one? You had one already? Which one do you want? This one?
Yeah,
you can hear